My name is Leonard Lance, and I'm a member of the House of Representatives representing Congressional District 7 in New Jersey. I was first in the state legislature, in the General Assembly, and then in the state Senate, and I am now in my fifth two-year term in the House of Representatives in Washington. I am a member of the Climate Solutions Caucus in the House of Representatives. Recently, the House of Representatives passed a bill that would move the nation's spent nuclear fuel to a place in the Nevada desert known as Yucca Mountain. And I am hopeful that this will become law. I think it's important that spent nuclear fuel be placed in a safe location, and I believe a safe location is in the Nevada desert, hundreds of miles from any population center. This has been in discussion for quite some time in Washington, and there are those who favor it and there are those who do not favor it, but I favor it, and I was pleased that this legislation recently passed the House of Representatives.
Why would you say that it's imperative that nuclear waste is being removed from New Jersey?
New Jersey is a population center. We are the most densely populated state in the nation. I think there should be a central repository for the entire nation, and it seems to me the best place for that to occur is hundreds and hundreds of miles from any population center. Nevada is a relatively small state in population, but it's a large state geographically, and the population centers in Nevada are in the Las Vegas area and in the Reno area, and Yucca Mountain is remote from any population center in Nevada, and certainly remote from the population centers here on the East Coast. There was a Nuclear Waste Policy Act that was enacted in 1982 that authorized the establishment of a nuclear waste fund to have a permanent repository. New Jersey is a state that gets about 50% of its electricity from nuclear sources, and we are higher in percentage in that regard than many other states. States in the Middle West tend to rely more heavily on fossil fuels, particularly coal. And so I think we're doing the responsible thing in New Jersey, and that is why I'm strongly in favor of the legislation that we recently passed. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which is a federal agency, will be involved with the Federal Department of Transportation to oversee the transportation of radioactive materials. The fuel that has been spent will be contained in casks that have multiple steel shells, and this is all contained in the Nuclear Waste Policy Amendments Act, which recently passed regarding Yucca Mountain. And so I have every confidence that the federal agencies involved have the competence to make sure that the transport of this material will occur in a safe manner. It's my understanding that New Jersey ratepayers have contributed nearly $2 billion to the U.S. Department of Energy's Nuclear Waste Fund to dispose of nuclear waste at Yucca Mountain. And I think it's time for the federal government to uphold its end of the bargain, since ratepayers across the country, including ratepayers in New Jersey, have contributed to a fund, the purpose of which is to dispose of the waste in Nevada. There are some who do not believe in nuclear power. I do. It's much cleaner than power from fossil fuels, and there are gradations in levels of fossil fuels. The dirtiest include coal, for example, and then there are more traditional fossil fuels from the Middle East. And then there is natural gas, which is a fossil fuel, but does not have nearly the pollutant qualities of the more traditional forms of fossil fuels, about one half of the pollutant qualities. And with the nuclear power, there are none of those qualities. However, there is the spent fuel, and that's why I want the spent fuel to go to Nevada. New Jersey is a state that gets about 50% of its electricity from nuclear sources, and we are higher higher in percentage in that regard than many other states. States in the Middle West tend to rely more heavily on fossil fuels, particularly coal. And so I think we're doing the responsible thing in New Jersey. This matter is being debated in the United States Senate, and I hope that it will pass in the Senate in a timely fashion. And if it were not to pass, then, of course, we'd have to start the process again in the new Congress, because legislation does not hold over from one Congress to another. So our time frame is the remainder of this year, because this Congress adjourns at the end of this year. A new Congress will come into existence next January. Congress, of course, works frequently on issues of environmental protection. For example, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, was established a generation ago during the Nixon administration. And yes, we're constantly working on important environmental issues. We were working on an important environmental issue regarding water quality in Flint, Michigan, because the quality of the water in Flint was certainly subpar, and that was a great tragedy for the residents of Flint, Michigan. And so, yes, Congress works all the time on various issues regarding environmental protection. I believe I've been rated the 6th most environmentally conscious Republican in the House of Representatives. As you know, there are about 240 or so Republican members of the House, and I think it's important to have a strong environmental record. I don't favor, for example, in a related area, drilling off the coast of New Jersey, because we rely so heavily on tourism in New Jersey as a basic industry in this state. There are issues that we discuss all the time, not only the nuclear waste issue, but other issues as well.